Hey everyone, welcome back. So yeah, it's uh it's been a while. Um my C++ studies again have been split up into three phases. I'm currently in phase one. I've done two templates. One template with using basically guidance as far as completing the first template. The second template I did use basically just notes and a little bit of chat GPT. The first template I struggled a lot because I couldn't figure out how to declare and define the header between the CPP. I was basically declaring the functions in the CPP and as well as defining them in the CPP when in reality I should have been splitting them up as far as the professional way to go. But I learned that in phase three, or in project uh, three, which is currently where I'm at now. So let's jump right in and let's take a look at where I'm at now, where I currently stand in template three, I guess if you want to call it, which is called the Bootcamp Trainer slash project slash game. It's a text-based project slash game. Let's take a look. All right, so basically in phase one, the first time that I did phase one after I was done with my studies, I did a template. I asked ChatGPT to build me a template, and I basically followed along as to what I needed to do based off the template, as far as like almost like if my boss was to tell me this is what you need to do, this here's the template, not just built in the code into it. And I failed miserably only because here where you can see the trainer H, which is the header, which is where all the functions live. I struggled a hard time trying to figure out exactly how to differentiate the header between the CPP and the main CPP, and I had a hard time figuring that all out. But on the second time, I did a little bit better. I asked ChatGPT to basically do me another project, but this time I knew to keep the trainer header separate from the trainer CPP to keep the functions and and basically the functions declarations and the header and the CPP definitions in the CPP and the main CPP to be called into basically anything, as far as just logic, as far as, simple stuff. Then I believe it was the third time around, which is now, or the fourth time around, I can't really remember, but um, this is where I'm currently at now. And right now, so as you can see, I have built a couple different functions. As you can see, for example, show menu, run option, project setup, and all that good stuff. And if you see here in the trainer CPP, I've included a couple different libraries as far as what I want to do. But just to give you a quick overline right now, based on phase one for my studies, it said that I think I had to be anywhere between, I believe it was 250 lines of code to 350 lines of code. And currently, right now, in the trainer CPP, I am at, let me see here real quick. I am at, if we were to include that last asterisk, I don't know, or the curly bracket, which would be 414 lines of code just in the trainer CPP. And the main CPP, we would add an additional 18 lines of code. And in the trainer header, which is where all the function declarations live, is an additional 50 lines of code. So let's see here. So that would be 414. Let me pop up the calculator here. 414 plus 18 plus 50. So we're looking at 482 lines of code. And this is not even close to being done yet. I've reached out to a YouTuber as far as, kind of looking over my game slash project. It's really in reality more of just a system project. analysis kind of game slash project where you can kind of see AI working if you want to in a practice, or as well as two players simultaneously playing against each other while waiting for an input. And the way that I set it up right now is that I have two AIs basically battling each other if you want to see the practice of how the game is played and the game rules. And as I told the YouTuber Code Monkey, if you want to check him out, I'll link him in the description below. You can basically see that that right now I'm currently, if I didn't want to do about 1 to 2 days of polish, I would be basically done with the whole project slash game. But I want to do a couple more tweaks, make it a little bit more visually appealing, even though it's just a text-based project slash game. So I'm gonna run it here for you guys just so you kind of get an idea of what it looks like. Let me just double check there is no errors in the output log. Everything looks good. So basically this is what it looks like here, and you got your 5 different options here. So it says select option 1 through 5 from below. You got your first option, which would be project setup. Option 2, new game. Option 3, game rules. Option 4, function lab. Option 5, clean up and exit. And then it says enter your choice, which is basically asking the user to type in a number 1 through 5. And I believe I have set it up to where if you type in anything that's not numerical, it gives you an invalid response. So just to double check, we'll try that. So we'll type in E. And again, it breaks the system. So now that I know that, I have to go back and basically check and ignore any characters that don't involve numerical values. So that is one thing that I have to go back and check. So let me go back here and actually add a quick comment onto that. Let me see here. So that would be in, let me see here, run option. Choice, that would be in the main CPP. So here I would do, and let's see here, choice, enter choice. Let me see here, only allow numerical input from menu choice, not any input from menu choice. So I'll add that there just to fix that issue. So let's go back and rebuild that now. It's not going to be fixed, obviously, but so let's say that we were to go back now, and let's say that was fixed, and I was to, for example, pick project setup, which would be numerical value 1. So we press 1, it shows the input of 1. I press 1. Now it says project name. So this is basically setting up, like, let's say if you were starting the game slash project. So it's asking, what do you want to call the project? And again, you can name it, and I set it up to where you can set it up as 1 letter or 1 number, or even just a character or anything like that. So let's say you wanted to name it, for example, we'll put test 1, and then map name, we'll name it map 1. And then it's saying target FPS 30 frames or 60 frames per second. And I know that I had set this up where it can't take any numerical value that is not 30 or 60, or any alphabet letter or character that is not equivalent or not exactly the number 30 or 60. So for example, I'll type in A, and I'll tell you invalid input, please enter 30 or 60. And again, I'll ask the user again to specify only 30 or 60. So again, if we type in 31, it'll ask again. So obviously we as gamers and engineers know that the best frames to run sometimes is going to be, obviously if you're in competitive gaming, is going to be to run at the highest frames per second. Unless you're into cinematics, then you want to run at 30 frames per second or even a little bit lower. So we'll run it at 60. The next question says use VSync, 1 for yes or 0 for no. And this one I had put it as, if you type in a number that is not 1 or 0, it'll give you an invalid response, and you have to again re-enter 1 or 0. So we'll double check that. So I'll type in 2, and again, invalid input, please enter 1 or 0. Use VSync, 1 yes or no. And again, I'm looking at this now, and I think I'm gonna want to use a little bit of spacing as far as you know, breaking up this part up. So where it says target frames per second 30 or 60, and then it tells you you know, to enter the input, and then oh no, hold on. So it says use VSync, use VSync. So right there where it says target frames per second, and I typed in 60, I want to split that up where it says use VSync, so there's an indentation into a next line. That way it splits it up and it's not all in the same line. So let's go back and fix that, and then we'll go back through the whole program one more time. So we'll go back to, let's see here. So map name, VSync. So VSync, invalid response. So once it's true, so here we would want to here. So VSync. So we'll add a standard cout new line here to break the user for the readability, and then we'll copy that, and we'll go back down to here and add that here. And then just so I don't forget, we'll put a couple stars here. Like that. And then let's go back in there. So now same thing. So project name, we'll just do, just for, again, for testing purposes, 1, project map name 2, target frames per second. This time we'll do 30. VSync on. So again, I think last time we were testing it, we didn't get past this point. So this time we'll do a character, just so you can see that it does prop invalid response. Again, it does pop up with an invalid response. So we'll use VSync yes. And I had set it up so right here it tells you basically everything that the user had inputted. So it says project name 1, which the user or myself right now typed in project name 1, map name 2, target frames per second 30 frames, VSync enabled, and project setup complete. And then it goes right back into the main menu, Bootcamp trainer, which is basically the name of the project / game. So then from here, a lot of times most people would be like, okay, well, if you know, when you play a game, you either go into the options menu if you're on PC. A lot of times if you're on console, you don't really go into the options. You sometimes go in there really to kind of figure out maybe the controls, but you don't go in there to really change any of the video settings, because those are really, you know, those are all kind of hardware based into and limited into the I guess I really don't know how to explain it, but it's it's restricted into um, what the console itself can do, and not push it to the limits of what your PC can do. I'm not sure if I'm correct on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm, you can leave that in the comments. But basically here, if you're a gamer, you would go into the game rules, and from here, if I was to type in option 3, you could see the game rules, and from here you can see the first thing after where it says enter your choice. The user would type in 3 to see the game rules, and then it shows you all the game rules. And then it says if you'd like to see two bots play against each other, type practice or type main menu to go back to the main menu. And then it says type your choice. And I had set it up to where if you type in, for example, practice, and then you mess up and you type that, it says invalid input. Now, if you type in main menu and you mess up and you type in that, it gives you invalid input and you got to retype it again. So let's, for example, let's say practice. So that way we see two bots playing each other. And this is where I implemented a little bit of AI, kind of just, playing against each other. And it doesn't give you of like, like a video playing against each other. It gives you more of basically automatically running itself in the background and then just giving you what the outcome was. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So I'm typing in type your choice, and I'm typing in practice because it says right here, if you like to see two bots play against each other, type practice or type main menu to go back to the main menu. So I'm typing in practice exactly like it says practice, and then right here you can see. So I'll scroll back up to here, and then you'll see here. So remember, if you were reading the rules, scroll back up here. If you were seeing the rules, if the game still here, you will be taken back. Hold on, where is it? Okay, so type your choice, practice. Practice mode selected. Watch two bots play against each other. Bot 1 versus bot 2. Bot 1 will be represented by 1, and bot 2 will be represented by 2. Grid is a 9x2. Bot 1 starts at the left, bot 2 starts at the right. Finish line is at row 0, top. And again, this is just something that I'm still polishing, so some of these wording and some of these lines of code that I'm still working on fixing. But before we begin, we need to decide who goes first. And again, I set it up to where it's a random dice, basically just kind of like a formula or a random number that basically is picked between 1 or 2, and that depends whether the player moves forward or stays in the same position, and it goes on to the next player for them to roll, for the random dice to roll in their favor, or for them to stay in the same position. So a random dice ran at 2, which means that bot 2 goes first. If it ran a 1, that means that bot 1 would go first. So starting positions, it shows you on the grid here, bot 1. So we go back here, it says bot 1 will be represented by 1, and bot 2 will be represented by 2. A grid is a 9x2, which again, I have to double check on this math here again, only because I was, working kind of late one night, and I wasn't really paying attention to make sure that everything was correct. But I'll double check that and final polish. And then here it says bot 1 starts at the left, so we see bot 1 at the very left of the start line, and bot 2 starts at the right. So it's bot 2's turn, since we can see bot's random dice ran a 2, so bot 2 goes first. So bot 2's turn rolls. So there's 7 rolls, which again, I believe I did put that in the rules. I don't think I did put that in the rules, which basically I do have to go back and put that, but each bot or each player In the practice, it will be each bot gets 7 rolls, each bot, and that each player in the game will also get 7 rolls evenly. So bot 2, since goes first, since the random dice ran a 2, roll 1 out of 7, dice 1. So again, roll 1, and I'm not too sure why it says dice 1. I have to remember. I have to go back and double check that, but oh yeah, okay. So roll 1, so I roll a dice 1, which means that it moves up 1. So you can see that bot 2 moves up 1 right here. And 1, since it wasn't his turn, still stays in the same spot. So bot 1's it's now bot 1's turn of roll 1 out of 7. And it rolled a 1, which means that it stays in. Oh, let me see here. I can't remember the logic I put in this. So, moves up 1. Yeah. Let me see here. Dice 2. Yeah. I have to remember this, but I have to go back to the code. Let me just here. Let me see here. So, so we'll go back through here. Okay, so it stays at the bottom of the grid. And so bot rolls plus. It's gotta equal to greater than 0 and minus. So okay, so yeah, if it equals 1, it moves up, or else it stays. So let's go back. So 1 means it moves up, and if it rolls a 2 in the random dice, it stays. So in the bot's 1's turn, so back, let's go back. So bot 2 rolled a dice of 1, or the random dice rolled a 1, so it goes up 1. Bot 1 rolled the dice of 1, so it goes up 1. Bot 2 rolled the dice of 2, so it stays in the same spot. Bot 1 rolled also a dice of 2, so it stays in the same spot. And again, right there, you'd be thinking, okay, so maybe there's something wrong with the logic as far as the random dice seed. But then we'll go back here and we'll see that bot 2's turn in the roll 3 rolled a 2, which means that it stayed in the same spot. So then here we'll see bot 1 also rolled in the same roll a dice 2, which means it stayed in the same spot. So then again, bot 2 roll 4 rolled a dice of 1, which made it move up. And again, and the same roll for the next turn for bot 1, it moved up 1. So in bot's 2 turn, roll 5 of it, and yeah, bot's 2 turn of roll 5, it rolled a dice of 2, which meant that it stayed in the same spot. But then here you can see clearly that it broke the logic. So bot's 2 turn, roll 5 out of 7. So if we were to go back, you'd be thinking, okay, well, maybe the dice seed that I did as far as the logic, it seems like basically bot 2 went up and then bot 1 followed right behind it. And it seemed like it was following the same pattern until we get to right here, bot's 2 turn, where it stayed in the same spot, and then bot 1 went up, which basically flipped the script from the very beginning. But now that when we go to bot's 2 turn in roll 6, which is bot's 2 turn, which is over here on the right, it rolled a 2, which means that it went back up 1. So now it is in the same spot here. So let me see here, let me see here where we're done mess up here. So bot's 1's turn and roll 5. So I moved up 1. Bot's 2 turn and roll 6. It rolled a dice of 2, which stays, so it broke the logic again, which is still working correctly. So bot's 1's turn in roll 6 out of 7, it rolled a 2, which means it stays, which is still in the lead. So bot's 2 turn right here, last roll, it rolled a dice of 1, so it moves up. So right there it's even, 7 out of 7. But now it's bot's 1's turn, since technically it's its last turn. And again, we'll go back and we'll check here. Random dice ran a 2, so bot 2 goes first. So bot 2 goes first, which means that bot's 2 turn roll out of 7 rolled a dice 1, which moved it up to 2, being right in line with 1, meaning that was his last turn. But bot 1, since it went second at the very beginning, had one more roll, and it rolled a 1, which means it moved up, ending the results 7 out of 7 for both bots. Bot 1 is closer to the finish line and wins. And then right there it says returning to the main menu, and that's basically what selecting option 3, the game rules, showing the game rules and showing how the game is played, and showing basically a visual of 2 AI bots visually playing. And if you were to see, so here we can see if we go 1, 2, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 spots up is 1. If we run the same game again, give me 1 second here. So we'll do 3, and then we'll type in practice. We'll go back up. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 for 1, 4 for 2. We'll hit enter. And now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 5 for 2. So then again, we'll do 3, and we'll hit practice. And you can see now bot 2 won. So it's all about, it's all random basically. So it doesn't mean that one player can win more than the other player can win. It's all random. It's a random dice seed that I basically created. So now, you know, since it's a game, it's a project that's text-based / game, you know, a lot of people will be like, okay, well, I need to see the game rules because, you know, I'm not really sure what's going on. At least that's what I'm assuming. That's what I would do. But if I was to include this and maybe into some sort of program where I could, you know, kind of create a little bit more of a visual versus not really more of like a game engine, but more of just a visual program, maybe I can get away with people not clicking the game rooms and jumping straight into option 2, which would be option 2, new game. And then here it says what's your player name. So we'll type in Carlos. What is the second player's name? So we'll type in F. And then here it says, before we begin, we need to decide who goes first. Same thing as the game rules option. Random dice running. Random dice ran a 2, which means that player 2, F, goes first. And this is where I left off. So now I basically have to implement the same logic that I did for the AI bots, kind of do some tweaking around, because I don't want the game to run automatically. I want it to where one player can, you know, kind of, you know, hold off a little bit and kind of, you know, do that kind of, you know, where you're at, you know, at the casino, kind of, you know, rolling the dice in your hand and stuff like that. And then you press, or you would let go of the dice. So in this instance, since it's a PC, you would press a certain key and then it would roll the random dice and hope for the best that you get to the finish line. Then after that is done, I would go into option 4, function lab, and there I am going to include every single option. So before I forget this, we'll go right back to that. But basically here, option 5, where it says clean up and exit, which is going to be renamed to basically exit game. So we'll press that 5, and it says cleaning up resources, exiting trainer, which I'm going to reward that, and it's basically going to say saving game, and there or something like that, goodbye or something like that. But we'll go back to where it said option 4, and in option 4, where it says here void function lab, which basically is going to live into where all these functions are, and I'm going to set it up to where it has a menu where you can visually see all these lines of code and how each function was built to create the whole program. But yeah, other than that, that's basically it. I'm going to polish it up, add a little bit of music. I'm still deciding on either distributing with an installer or just including it in a folder as a .exe. And from there, that would be basically phase 1 of a project done with no template. A little bit help from notes, a little bit help from ChatGPT, but most of it was basically just building logic from, I can't remember the website. Let me see. I think I may still have it here. Let me see here. Go to favorites. Go to Draw.io. I think this was what it was. So this one, Draw.io, I was basically getting ideas as far as how to build the logic and how to make it everything kind of flow nicely into a way where it all made sense. And then I was also getting the ideas as far as as far as the moves and all that stuff based on kind of math and writing stuff down with a pen and paper. But yeah, that's basically where the project's at. This is basically something that I'm probably going to include in my portfolio for my phase 1 studies. Pass it on to a couple family and friends and stuff like that. It's not nothing really too, most people probably wouldn't even want to play it, but it's definitely something that I learned a lot as far as building functions, the logic behind it, a little bit of AI, and basically just structuring it in a way where everything works from the header to the CPP, then it runs in this the main CPP when the user is required to enter an input, basically. And then the final step would be to either distribute it into an installer where it's basically your traditional, you download a file, then it pops up with some visual appealing program installer saying continue, accept terms and details and all that good stuff. And then the program installs, pops up with a desktop icon, and then you basically get to play the game. Or I'll either just pack everything into a folder, and then you double click the .exe, and then it opens it up in Windows PowerShell or CMD prompt, and then you play the game that way. I haven't really decided, but mainly this is just, again, more of just a learning project for myself. But I do want to get other people's input as far as my code structure and the flow logic that I made for this. But other than that, thanks for tuning in. That's what I've been doing for roughly the last, I'd say, month and a half. I know I've been gone for a little while, but yeah, if you got any questions, drop your comments down below, and I'll try to help you out as much as I can. Again, I'm still in the learning phases. I am also participating in a game jam because I was getting discouraged building this text-based project where basically there's no visuals like a traditional video game. So I decided to stop for about 3 days and join a game jam where a theme was for Valentine's Day. And I started it, but then I was working on it for maybe 2 hours before I went to sleep. And then the following day, played video games. The following day, I played video games. And then the following day, I went right back into it for about 10 hours straight of coding. And this is where I'm at now. I haven't gone back to the game jam, and I want to continue back on this project. I think I just needed some time away to, get away from seeing all the lines of code. Um, but I know the game jam is, I think, going on. It was going on for 30 days, and I was looking for a game jam where I could participate for roughly 30 or 7 days and kind of incorporate everything I learned from phase one, and build something within 7 days. Code something within 3 days and polish it maybe for 2 days, and then basically make sure there's no bugs or anything on that last day, and then publish it on the last day. Um, but yeah, if if I still get discouraged or something like that, I may still do the game jam. I don't even know if it's going on anymore, but this is where I'm at. Again, it's about halfway done. If I don't polish it, it's basically 3/4 of the way done. Like I mentioned, all I have left to do is basically implement the bot logic into the actual player's logic, and basically just delete the automatic gameplay, so the players can basically just tap a key or make it, or maybe I'll think about something different where the players have to, I don't know, maybe I can't really think about it right now, but basically where the players have to type in something to continue playing, and then it's the next person's turn, or before the random dice can be rolled. And then the functions lab, which is going to include all the text-based of what each function does and how the game was created / project. And the cleanup is going to be basically saving the game and exiting the game, or basically just exiting and quitting the game. And then after that, that's basically what it is. But yeah, stay tuned. And if you have any questions, drop it in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.
What I put you through. Every night I'm haunted by the thought of you. If you need my loving, call me and I'll step on through.